What's up, fight fans? If you weren't watching Monday Night Raw this week, you missed absolute chaos. But don't worry, we've got you covered. Before we dive into this insanity, please hit that subscribe button and smash that notification bell so you never miss another moment of pure wrestling carnage. Now let me paint you a picture. Jade Cargill has been absolutely untouchable for weeks. She's been walking around backstage like she owns the place, talking about how she's the standard, how she's that girl, how nobody in the entire women's division can step to her level. And honestly, she had a point. Week after week, we watched her demolish opponent after opponent. The woman is a physical specimen, standing there looking like she was carved from granite, throwing people around like they're nothing. But there was one problem with Jade's reign of terror. One massive, glaring oversight that was about to come back and bite her in the worst possible way. Bianca Belair has been out of action. Injury? Personal time? Nobody really knew the full story, but what we did know is that the EST of WWE has been watching. She's been recovering, she's been training, and most importantly, she's been waiting for the perfect moment to remind everyone exactly who she is. And Monday night? That moment arrived with the force of a freight train crashing through a brick wall. The show is rolling along, right? We're getting matches, promos, the usual Monday night entertainment. Jade Cargill is backstage in the middle of an interview with Byron Saxton. She's doing her thing, talking about how she's revolutionized the women's division, how she's brought a level of athleticism that's never been seen before. The confidence is oozing off her. She's not just confident, she's borderline arrogant, and you know what? In professional wrestling, that kind of hubris always comes with a price tag. Byron asks her if she's worried about any returning superstars potentially challenging her position. Jade laughs. Actually laughs. She says something along the lines of who? Name one person who can stand across from me and not get destroyed. The crowd watching on the screens is buzzing because we all know what's about to happen. We can feel it in the air. That electricity that only exists right before something monumental is about to go down. And then it happens. The camera angle shifts slightly, and you can see it in Jade's eyes. That split-second recognition. That moment where confidence transforms into concern. Because walking up behind her, moving with purpose, is Bianca Belair. But this isn't the smiling, playing to the crowd Bianca we're used to seeing. This is something different. This is focused rage. This is months of frustration compressed into 150 pounds of pure athletic fury ready to explode. Jade barely has time to turn around before Bianca is on her. We're not talking about a wrestling match here. We're not talking about a worked program with choreographed spots. This is a straight-up fight. Bianca grabs Jade and just launches her into the equipment cases stacked against the wall. The crash echoes through the hallway. Stage hands are scattering. People are yelling. Byron Saxton has dropped his microphone and is backing away because he knows he's about to witness something brutal. Jade, to her credit, tries to fight back. She throws a forearm that connects, and for a second, it looks like maybe she can weather the storm. But Bianca is operating on a different level right now. She catches Jade with a punch that snaps her head back, follows up with a knee to the midsection, and then uses that signature strength to lift Jade up and slam her down onto one of the road cases. The sound is sickening. That hollow metal boom mixed with the impact of a human body. This is the kind of thing that makes you wince even though you know these are trained professionals. But Bianca isn't done. Not even close. She grabs Jade by the hair and starts dragging her down the hallway. Jade is trying to grab onto anything, trying to create separation, but Bianca is in complete control. They're moving past shocked backstage personnel, past other wrestlers who are watching with wide eyes, past producers who are frantically talking into headsets trying to figure out if this is part of the show or if they need to actually intervene. They reach the catering area, and this is where things escalate to another level. Bianca picks up Jade and rams her back first into the edge of a table. Food goes flying everywhere. Tables are getting knocked over. It's absolute pandemonium. Other wrestlers are having to move out of the way. Seth Rollins is standing there with a plate of food just watching with his mouth open. Even he looks impressed by the level of violence being displayed. Jade manages to create some separation, and she comes back with a desperation clothesline that actually staggers Bianca for a moment. See, this is what makes this whole situation so compelling. Jade Cargill is legitimately one of the most physically impressive women to ever step into a WWE ring. Under normal circumstances, this would be a competitive fight. But these aren't normal circumstances. Bianca isn't here for a competition. She's here to make a statement written in bruises and broken equipment. Bianca shakes off the clothesline and responds with a sequence that's just brutal to watch. She drives Jade face first into a concrete pillar. Once, twice, 3 times. Each impact makes you cringe. Jade crumples to the ground, and for a second, you think maybe it's over. Maybe Bianca has gotten her revenge and made her point. But then Bianca reaches down and grabs that long braid of hers. The same braid she uses as a weapon in her matches. And everyone watching knows exactly what's about to happen. She wraps that braid around Jade's throat, not in a playful wrestling move kind of way, in a "I am going to choke you unconscious" kind of way. Jade's eyes are going wide. She's clawing at the braid, trying to get air, trying to escape. Her face is turning red. Officials are finally starting to rush in, but they're hesitant because Bianca looks like she might turn on anyone who tries to interfere. Adam Pearce shows up with what looks like half the roster's worth of people to try and separate them. It takes 6 people to pull Bianca off. 6 people. And even then, she's fighting against them, trying to get back to Jade, screaming something we can't quite make out, but based on the intensity and the fury in her eyes, it's nothing pleasant. Jade is on the ground gasping for air, coughing, looking completely stunned that someone not only stood up to her but absolutely dominated her. The medics rush in to check on Jade, and this is the perfect visual because it establishes everything we need to know going forward. Jade Cargill, the woman who has been unstoppable, is being attended to by medical personnel. Meanwhile, Bianca Belair is being held back by 6 people and still looks like she's ready to fight all of them just to get back to Jade. The power dynamic has completely shifted in the span of about 5 minutes of absolute chaos. Now let's talk about what this means for the women's division moving forward, because this isn't just a random attack. This is a paradigm shift. For weeks, Jade has been positioned as this unbeatable force. The narrative has been that nobody can touch her, nobody can match her physicality, nobody can compete with her on any level. And in one segment, Bianca Belair completely shattered that narrative. She didn't just beat Jade in a fight, she dismantled the entire aura that had been built around her. This is the kind of storytelling that wrestling is supposed to be about. We don't need convoluted explanations. We don't need weeks of build with Twitter feuds and contract signings. Sometimes the most effective story is the simplest one. Bianca was gone. Jade disrespected her during her absence. Bianca came back. Bianca destroyed Jade. It's primal. It's visceral. It's exactly what fans want to see. The crowd reactions on social media have been insane. People are losing their minds over how intense this segment was. And that's because it felt real. The anger felt real. The violence felt real. The consequences felt real. When you create that kind of authentic emotion, fans respond. They share it. They talk about it. They tune in next week to see what happens next. That's how you build momentum in professional wrestling. From a character perspective, this does wonders for both women. Bianca needed this. She's been away, and there's always a risk when someone returns that they've lost their spot or their momentum. But this return instantly puts her back at the top of the card. She didn't just come back, she came back with purpose and fury and reminded everyone why she's one of the most dominant forces in the company. The EST isn't just a nickname, it's a warning. For Jade, this actually might be the best thing that could have happened to her character development. Hear me out. She's been too perfect, too untouchable. Perfect characters are boring, but a perfect character who gets humbled and has to fight their way back? That's interesting. Now we get to see how Jade responds. Does she come back seeking revenge? Does she question herself? Does this make her more dangerous because now she knows she's vulnerable? These are the questions that make fans invested in what happens next. The implications for potential matches are enormous. Obviously, we're building toward a major showdown between these two. Maybe at the next premium live event. Maybe we get a series of matches. Maybe we get a stipulation match where the violence can be even more intense. The possibilities are endless, and that's exciting. When you have two legitimate athletes who can go in the ring and you've established this level of animosity between them, you've got money. But beyond just Bianca and Jade, this affects the entire women's division. Every other woman on the roster just watched what happened. They saw someone stand up to the seemingly unbeatable force and win decisively. That opens doors. That creates opportunities. Suddenly, other wrestlers can position themselves as potential challengers. The hierarchy that seemed set in stone is now fluid again. There's also something to be said about the intensity level this sets for women's wrestling in WWE. For too long, there's been this perception that women's feuds need to be less physical, less aggressive, more focused on drama than violence. Segments like this shatter that perception. This was as hard-hitting and brutal as anything the men do. It tells the audience and it tells the company that women can main event, women can brawl, women can create those water cooler moments that get people talking. The timing of this is perfect too. Wrestling is in this renaissance period where fans are demanding better storytelling and more intense action. Companies are competing for attention in a crowded entertainment landscape. You need moments that break through the noise. You need segments that people who don't normally watch wrestling will see trending on social media and think, okay, I need to check that out. This backstage destruction is exactly that kind of moment. Looking ahead, the question becomes, where do they go from here? The obvious answer is a match, but when and under what circumstances? Do you pull the trigger quickly while the heat is at its peak? Or do you let it simmer, let the anticipation build, have them cross paths a few more times before the actual sanctioned match? There's no wrong answer as long as the intensity remains consistent. The worst thing they could do is follow this up with standard wrestling programming where they're suddenly okay with each other or the anger feels manufactured. What made this segment work is that it felt like genuine hatred. Bianca looked like she wanted to end Jade's career. Jade looked legitimately shocked and overwhelmed. When you capture that authenticity, you can't let it slip away by treating future encounters as just another match or angle. Every interaction needs to feel dangerous. Every time they're in the same building, there should be tension. This is also a reminder of why returning superstars need to make impact statements. In today's wrestling landscape, attention spans are short. There's always another show, another company, another streaming service competing for eyeballs. When someone has been away and comes back, you can't just have them walk out and cut a promo. You need a moment. You need something that forces people to pay attention. Bianca understood the assignment and exceeded expectations. The EST of WWE has returned, and she's proven that her absence didn't weaken her, it only made her more dangerous. Jade Cargill learned a harsh lesson about respect and consequences. The women's division just got infinitely more interesting, and we, as fans, get to sit back and watch this unfold knowing that we're potentially witnessing the beginning of one of the best rivalries in recent WWE history. This is what professional wrestling is supposed to be. This is why we watch. This is pure, unfiltered intensity, and we are absolutely here for every single second of what comes next.